Hello. In last class, we have discussed regarding the basic requirements of water supply, drainage and waste disposal systems. Okay. So, in today's class, we are going to concentrate on one of the important topic of this present scenario, okay, that is rainwater harvesting. Okay. Rainwater harvesting. Of course, first we need to understand about rainwater harvesting. Why we need to harvest rain? Okay, nowadays rainwater harvesting technique is one of the important aspects. Okay, even in futuristic plan of the present globe, as well as the requirement of human beings, the comfort zone of the public. Okay, because water is the second highest consumption materials after air. So, nowadays even because of the global warming, rainfall is also going to be reduced day by day or season by season, year by year. Okay. So, to overcome this, we need to collect water during rainfall. Okay. Then we can use that water for drought season. Okay. That is at summer season. Okay. So, the term introduction about rainwater harvesting. So, water is essential for all life of forms of earth, including human, animals and vegetations. Okay. So, it is therefore important that adequate supplies of water be developed to sustain such life. Okay. So, even in some cases, why we need to go ahead with rainwater harvesting? Because nowadays even the groundwater is going to be even at deeper level, so that if at minimum depth we should not supposed to get a groundwater. Okay. Even that the sources, even some lakes, rivers, okay, some ponds are going to become drought in nature. Okay. So, they are not going to be recharged season wise, right, because of the soil conditions, because of the comfort of the public, or because of the usage of advanced technologies, which will in turn lead to global warming. Okay. So, with respect to all these facts, right, so nowadays rainwater harvesting technique is must and should, which is compulsory in nature. Yes or no? So what is this rainwater harvesting, right? So, the term rainwater harvesting is usually taken to mean the immediate collection of rainwater running off surfaces upon which it has fallen directly. Okay. So, this definition excludes the runoff from land watersheds into streams, rivers, lakes, etc. Hence, it is the catching of rainwater when it falls and storing to use during the non-rainy season. Okay. That is the overall rainwater harvesting technique. Okay. Then in continuation with that, we need to observe what are all the different types of harvesting process are there. Okay. So, what are all the different types of rainwater harvesting techniques are there? Basically, so rainwater harvesting techniques can be broadly classified into two. Okay. The first one is rooftop harvesting. The first one is rooftop harvesting, and the second one is runoff harvesting. Right. So, the first one is a rooftop harvesting and the second one is runoff harvesting. Okay. So, by the terminology itself we will come to know that rooftop harvesting, rooftop. So, in the first technique we are going to observe, or we are going to collect the water from the rooftop. Okay. That is from the slabs, from the flats or factories top portions, okay, or industries or institutional buildings, any organizations. Okay. We can take any structure. Of course, without roof the structure is not going to be complete. Yes, or no? Which you should not supposed to only construct a walls. Okay. So, it must ended with a roof. Okay. So, while rainfall takes place, of course, the rooftop is in turn going to experience that rainwater. Okay. Once that entire area is filled with rainwater, so that there of course we are going to give some slopes on the either side, so that the entire water will in turn going to collect it at some other corner, at some corners. Okay. If you are not providing any suitable arrangement for that, right, so then the entire water will in turn go to ground, no doubt. Okay. If you are not at all provided any technique to harvest it or to collect it. Yes or no? So, is there any techniques to collect it at one particular point, right, by giving proper pipeline connections to that entire area, which in turn covers the rainfall, okay, and it will in turn going to store it in one storage reservoir or storage tank, right, and do all necessary arrangements regarding the collections, that is regarding filtration processes and with respect to disinfection process. Okay, it might be, okay, depends upon the requirement, depends upon the availability of material, depends upon the nature of water get collected. Okay. So, by observing all these things, we can provide the suitable alternate arrangement to remove the bacteria, to remove the floating particles, okay, to remove the settled particles. Okay. Once then only we can get good water. It should not be potable, I can say directly, but we can use that water for other purposes, because we are not at all directly depends on only a drinking purpose. Okay. Rainwater harvesting technique is not 100% fit for drinking water, I can say, but we can use that water for other residential related issues, okay, for gardening purpose, for cleaning purpose, okay, for washing, okay, for vegetation purpose, okay, for all remaining parameters we can use that water. Even in some cases, if we have a purification process in our residential area, we can even treat that water, no doubt. Yes or no, right? So, these are the two methods of collection of rainwater. Okay. The first one is rooftop harvesting and the second one is runoff harvesting. So, now we will discuss one by one. Okay. So, the first one is rooftop harvesting. Yes, we can observe in this figure, right. So, this method includes the catchment area as the rooftop in rural and urban areas. This includes the rooftop of houses, flats, factories, offices, complexes, etc. Okay. So, in this figure we can observe here, right. So, of course, the rainfall takes place, right. So, the entire roof, it might be a flat, it might be a residential area, it might be an industry, it might be a factory, okay. Any organizations, any institution, any structure, we can take it as an example, okay. Of course, the outermost, the topmost part is in turn experience that rainfall, okay. So, by providing a proper slopes on either side, of course, the water once it drops on that surface, it will in turn go to end, no doubt. Then at the end we need to give a collecting pipes, or we need to provide a gutters or pipelines, so that the entire water get collected through that particular pipeline and that will in turn come to one particular corner. Yes, we can observe in this figure at one particular point we can have that collecting tank. Okay, the entire water will in turn come and collect it at that particular tank. Yes or no? So, we need to decide once again the type, the size of the tank in turn depends on the availability of rainfall, then the total catchment area we have. Okay. On that basis, we need to decide what should be the volume of tank I need to suggest. It might be 5000 liters capacity, 1000 liters capacity, 2000 liters capacity, depends upon the area of the roof, right. That area multiplied by the thickness, that is thickness is nothing but how much of water that is rainfall takes place. It might be of 10 mm. Usually we come to know, okay. So, in rainy season, so in this month, so we may get probably this much of rainfall, okay, like that. And we should not supposed to take 100%, okay. So, if 1 mm or 10 mm rainfall takes place, we should not say that area into that depth or thickness of that entire water level which takes place on that particular platform will give you a volume of rainfall, okay, or volume of the water which collects on that particular rooftop. Then we can convert it to in terms of liters, okay. It is not exactly 100%, I can say some water will in turn go into loss, okay, because of some other practical reasons, because of some leakages, because of some fixtures, fittings, pipe fittings, okay. So, these parameters may lead some wastages, some water may get evaporates, some may get seep, okay. So, by taking all these wastages and all these things, by giving the suitable freeboards, I can decide the storage tanks capacity. Yes or no? So, that is the rooftop harvesting concept, okay. So, the next one is runoff harvesting. Of course, in this runoff harvesting, the name itself says, of course, while rainfall takes place, of course, the water will start flowing from the highest ridge portion to the lower elevations always, Okay. So, in turn, while moving towards lower portions, okay, it will in turn go to collect with some other streamlines. Yes or no? So, and then at last it will going to place, or it will going to store at one particular point, okay, which is little bit pond or lake type of structure we have constructed, or else even naturally it will going to store at one particular point, and we need to decide that location. Okay. So, we need to decide that location and we need to construct a pond. Yes or no? So, we need to have some one embankment, okay, with respect to ground level, or it might be below ground level, or it might be exactly at ground surface, depends upon the availability of runoff at that particular region, then depends upon the terrain condition of that field, right. So, we need to decide what should be the catchment area. Okay. So, during rainfall takes place, of course, the runoff will come towards the slope. Yes. So, at this time we need to provide suitable filter medias at the entry of that tank, okay, so that the entire water, if any debris matters are coming along with the runoff, so that they are going to filter it at that particular screening process. Then the pure water you may get it to the second level. Then you can use that water for animals, for gardening purpose, okay, for cleaning purpose, depends. Okay. So, usually this runoff technique is not sufficient or not good for urban cities, because we won't get that much of area here. Okay. So, it is best for village region where we can get fields, so that we can catch the water in a huge manner. Okay. So, in this figure you can observe the runoff harvesting. Here the runoff water is collected, gardens, then driveways, landscapes, open fields, parks, roads and pavements and other open areas of the environment can be used to harvest the rainwater runoff. So, using this method it is possible to collect the water from larger areas, right, and this is particularly advantageous in areas of low rainfall, and it will fit to village region, because we may get huge fields over there. Okay. So, we can observe in this figure. So, the entire runoff is in turn going collected with a particular pond or lake or tank. Okay. Then the next point is components of rainwater harvesting. I will write short form RWH, that is rainwater harvesting. So, what are the basic components I need to concentrate in this rainwater harvesting? Basically, we come across rainwater harvesting components. So, the first one is catchment area. The first one is catchment area. Yes, of course, the name itself says catchment area. Here catchment area of course we have length into width, okay, or width into depth, something in 2 dimensional, that is area, okay, length into width, square meters, okay, or square feet. Area. Catchment area, catchment is nothing but what is the amount of water which is going to catch at particular platform, by that particular platform. Okay. For example, if I consider this board, okay, I will make it little bit slope in nature instead of making it horizontal, so that I will have that rainfall type of effect, so that the entire water, water droplets will in turn drop on this particular area. Okay, that is the intensity of rainfall. We can get it through some other techniques. Okay, so we can come to know what should be the average rainfall takes place on that particular area. Okay, so and we can easily calculate what should be the area of this portion. That is called the catchment area. So, that is the area mentioned in square meter or square feet, okay, that is the square of unit, okay. So, on which the entire rainfall is going to take place. That is the first component we need to concentrate. So, rainwater can be collected from most forms of the roofs, that is different types of roofs. It might be sheeted one, it might be a tiled, it might be a GI sheet roofing, it might be asbestos cement sheet roofing, depends. Okay. So, that particular area we can consider it as the catchment area, where the entire water is going to pass through that particular area. Okay. Then the second one is gutters and pipes. Second most important thing is gutters and pipes. Yes. So, you can observe in this figure the terminology gutters and pipelines. So, in this rooftop harvesting systems, gutters and pipes are used to collect and transport water to the storage tanks, right. The gutters are nothing but, of course, gutters and pipelines are the end connections made at the sloped roof, so that the entire water will come and collect in that particular pipeline, or the arrangement what we have made over there. Okay, it might be of U shape exactly, or it might be a trapezoidal shape. Okay, depends upon the requirement, depends upon the intensity of the building, depends upon the type of building. We can decide the pipelines and gutters. Okay, what should be the diameter of the pipe I need to provide, that in turn depends on the type of building, that is the amount of rainfall we are supposed to collect. Okay. So, on that basis we need to decide the gutters and pipelines. So, they are nothing but the fixtures which will be fitted to the edges, that is eaves portions of the roof, so that the entire water will come and collect at that particular point, and by giving a proper slope on that particular pipeline, so the water will in turn go and collect it to one particular corner. From that we can directly transfer it to the storage tanks. Okay. That is the second most important component of this rainwater harvesting. Then the third one is filters. Third one is filters or filter media. Okay. So, filters, they might be of different types, depends upon the materials, depends upon the screening activities, if you want a minute mesh or if you want a broader filter medias, depends upon the extent of water we are collecting at that particular point, and depends upon the natural, or depends upon the physical problems or that particular practical problems what you are going to face. If we met with some huge trees in our surroundings, definitely during rainfall, okay, of course the leaves and all these things will in turn come along with the rainfall. Okay, because they will in turn give you some disturbance towards the collection process. That is why we need these filters, yes or no. So, they are used to filter out the debris that comes with the rooftop water and prevent them being added to the storage tanks. Yes, that is the advantages or requirement or objective of your filters. Okay. They might be of mesh filters, the first flushing devices, then sediment discharge taps. Yes, in this figure you can observe the filters. Okay. Yes, these are the basic three components of rainwater harvesting systems, right. Then the next bit is storage facility. Okay. So, the next important bit is storage facility. Yes. The term storage facility itself explains about how we are going to store it, by using what media, yes or no, because we should not supposed to directly dump it in some specified area. Okay. We need to specific in nature, yes, what is the extension of water we are going to collect from rooftop. Okay. So, we need to decide, because while constructing a sump in your house, we are going to decide what should be the capacity of water we are going to collect, we are supposed to collect. Yes or no, it might be of 5000 liters capacity, because 5000 liters we have decided that, yes, in that house we have around 4 plus 4, 8 members were there. Okay. Ground floor, first floor probably. Okay. In some other cases we may have 1 or 2 more members in extra. Okay. So, which will in turn lead to 10 members. Okay. So, each day the requirement is around 200 liters per person, or 135 liters per person, or 100 liters, depends upon the comfort zone, locality. It depends on all these practical parameters. We need to consider what should be the per day requirement, okay, into number of days. Okay. So, because the the tap water may come 2 days, once in a 2 days, or weekly twice, or weekly thrice, depends upon the conditions, depends upon the season also we can decide the availability of water. So, okay, by considering all these requirements, we will come to know that, yes, this is what the total requirement of water takes place for that particular day. Okay. So, on that principle we are going to decide what should be the dimensions of the tank should be fit. Yes or no. So, what should be the length, what should be the width, what should be the depth. Okay. Along with this, we need to observe what should be the requirement. Okay. We should not say, if we have the parking area or sit out portions of restricted area, we should not supposed to go more than that of the availability of land. Okay. So, by considering all these parameters, we need to decide the storage capacity or storage facilities. Okay. Of course, the storage facilities are nothing but your tanks. Okay. So, the storage tanks is the structure where the water is stored. This can be varied according to, that is the classifications, varied according to the shape, according to the materials used and the positions of the tanks. Okay. According to the shape of tank, we can observe in this figure, it might be circular in nature, it might be rectangle in nature, hexagon in nature, right. So, depends upon the shape, we can decide the type of tank. Then coming to the depends upon the materials of the construction, whether it might be of RCC or it might be of plastic or any other materials. Okay. So, depends upon the materials also, we can decide the storage facility, that is storage tanks. Then the third one is depends upon the positions of the tank, whether it is above ground level or exactly at ground level or partially at ground, okay, or below ground level at some extent, depends upon the positions of the tank. We can decide whether it is under or above or exactly at surface. Okay. This is regarding the storage tanks. Okay. In this figure, we can observe the storage tanks of different shapes and the positions. Okay. Then the next part is advantages. Advantages of rainwater harvesting. Of course, as we discussed earlier, so nowadays rainwater harvesting technique is one of the important and which is a compulsory and mandatory parameter in residential areas, right, because the comfort zone of public is increasing day by day, consumptions of water and dependent parameters of waters are usually going to be high in day by day. Okay. We have developed some activities, something like that. Yes or no? So, automatically the consumption of water is huge in nature, definitely the availability of water will be once again remain same. It is not going to be varied according to your comfort zone. Definitely the next level is we need to store more water so that we can use it in other seasons or in drought seasons. Okay. So, in that constraints we have some advantages of rainwater harvesting techniques. So, the first one is relatively we are using cheap materials. Okay. In turn, the construction of containers and collecting surfaces, right. So, we are not going to invest advanced materials to collect the rainwater. Okay. It might be of rooftop or it might be of runoff harvesting technique. So, we are in turn using cheap materials. In the same context, we can say the construction cost is also going to be minimum. Okay. We are not going to invest much money on this. That is why it is one of the best practice, I can say. Okay. Then construction methods are relatively straightforward, then low maintenance costs and requirements, right. Then environmental friendly, no doubt. Then increase the groundwater level as well as quality of groundwater level, then mitigates the effects of drought, reduces the runoff, reduces the soil erosion, right. So, these are all the basic advantages of rainwater harvesting technique. Of course, once we met with advantages, there are some disadvantages of this rainwater harvesting technique, but they are not much differs the construction activities or the activities come across this rainwater harvesting, but there are some facts which will in turn have some limitations. Okay. So, that is disadvantages of rainwater harvesting. Yes, what all the disadvantages are there, or we can have it as a limitations. Okay. So, the first one is supplies can be contaminated by birds or animals droppings on the catchment surfaces and guttering structures unless they are cleaned before use, right. Once the entire area, catchment area is in turn exposed to atmosphere, there is a chances of birds or animal droplets takes place on that particular area, which will in turn come to a pipeline. Okay, it might be going to affect your gutter portions, or it might be in turn going to affect your storage inlet portions. Okay, but we need to clean it before going to use. Okay, so continuous maintenance is required for this rainwater harvesting techniques. That is one limitations I can say. It's not a big deal, okay, but it must consist of some limitations. Then the second one is poorly constructed water jars or containers can suffer from algae growth. Yes, if the construction or masonry work or the workmanship is not good, okay, then there are chances of development of algae takes place, which will in turn lead to some odor or smell that comes from the storage reservoirs. Okay, that we need to take care. Then the next one is regular maintenance should be needed, no doubt. Okay, then unpredictable rainfall. If nowadays we can experience there is a huge disaster takes place at some stages, then there is a huge rainfall takes place in some regions. Okay, so this is not in our hand. Yes or no? So unpredictable rainfall takes place. Definitely the storage things and your gutters may affect at some extent. Okay, so in those case situations we need to overcome with some basic practices which we need to involve in our harvesting techniques. Okay, so these are all the some disadvantages comparing to the advantages. Okay, and of course while comparing with the advantages and disadvantages, but advantages of rainwater harvesting technique is more and more, right? Because in every aspects, in every materials, in every product, advantages as well as disadvantages. Okay, benefits as well as some limitations are there. Okay, but we need to come up with advantages. If more advantages are there, nothing to worry. We can adopt it to our basic things. Okay, so at last, importance of rainwater harvesting. No doubt, rainwater harvesting technique is nowadays not only for the present days, even for the future days also. Rainwater harvesting technique is must and should, and it is compulsory. Okay, now majority of the corporations and urban development authorities, they have made it mandatory that at the time of taking a sanction for construction of a residential building, it's must and should, we need to take an oath or we need to provide a rainwater harvesting facility in your house, so that and of course it in turn helps you a lot. Okay, so that is the importance, because we need to give water for the future generation. Yes, we should not supposed to use it completely in our days, for next decades or after 3-4 decades later, they are going to suffer a lot. Okay, that is not the usual tendency. So by futuristic plan also, we need to adopt rainwater harvesting techniques, so that the groundwater recharge also takes place in a very good manner. Okay, even the quality of water also got improved. Okay, so these are all the some importance of rainwater harvesting systems. Okay, yes, thank you.